Church Growth Unleashed, diving into all things leadership and church growth. Provide the help, encouragement, insights that you need along the journey of growing yourself as a leader and your ministry. Hey, welcome back to the Church Growth Unleashed podcast. I'm your host, Danny Anderson, and this is a podcast where we talk about all things church growth, church leadership, and I am super excited for you guys today because joining me today is my friend Aaron Brockett, the lead pastor of Traders Point Christian Church. In 2007, Aaron took over the church and when it was about 1,200 people, and now is over 12,000 people, multiple campuses, and was on the fastest growing church list for Outreach Magazine. Aaron also sits on the Orchard Group, which is a worldwide church planning organization. He's married, has 4 children, and a dog, a gray lab named Winston, and that's pretty cool. And so, hey, thanks for joining us today, Aaron.
Hey, thanks, Danny. It's an honor to be here.
Man, I would love to just dive in and just talk leadership with you. I'm going to learn from you. Our audience is going to learn from you, and I'm super pumped for them. And so I'm just going to just go right after things, okay? You ready to dive in?
Let's
Awesome.
do it, man.
Okay, so as I mentioned, over the last 20 years, Traders Point's just kind of exploded with growth. And as I would love to know, and I know our audience would, looking back over the last 18, 20 years, what are some of the key decisions that you and your leadership made that to maybe trigger some of that growth?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. And, I think I would probably preface it by saying that I'd never led anything with explosive growth ever until I got here. So I didn't come with that anticipation of what would happen. I didn't know what would happen. And if I'm being really honest, like I knew about the church, the church has got a long history. We're 190 years old. The church got started in 1834, which is just crazy. And so I knew of my predecessor. I knew of the church. I wasn't on staff here. And so when they called me, I was really kind of shocked that they would even entertain it. I was like 31 years old at the time, a relatively unproven leader. And so when I got in the seat, I just remember thinking, I just don't want to kill it. Like I don't want to be the guy that like gets in the cockpit and nosedives it into the ground. So I didn't have like these like huge aspirations of growth. Obviously, I wanted it to grow, but I didn't know how that was going to happen or even where to begin in that. And so I think when I first got here, there were so many things that I just didn't have answers to. And I didn't really know, like I'm a visionary guy, but I was like, man, I'm new to Indy. I'm new to this church. I'm relatively a new leader. So I could cast vision and direction, but I don't know if it's in the right direction or not. And so for me, I was like, let me just take like 12 to 18 months just to be here and do life with people. Now, I did have a handful of like, younger staff kind of being like, hey, what direction are we going to go? Kind of putting that pressure on me, so I knew I needed to lead in some direction. But I was like, well, let me just teach the Bible as clear as I can and cast like general vision that we just know that Jesus has called us to do. And then I'll get more specific as I learn the context. And so the first series that I did was in Nehemiah, which is just, a no-brainer for, vision and direction. And
Absolutely.
and what was happening is I would have people come up to me after and say, man, thank you for your leadership. We're really excited about the vision. And that was a bit surprising because I didn't know that I had led anything or cast any vision. I was just teaching the Bible in a practical way. So I'd say I just began there. And then I was trying to, like, I have a real heart for people that are out of relationship with God, or, like my father is a bit of a recovering preacher's kid. So I have that kind of in my background. And I'm interested in discipleship, but I really want to reach messy people. And so I was just trying to do that. And we've just continued to grow through some of that. I think that if I would just maybe throw one more thing in there, I think that part of at least my job as a lead pastor, and I think every lead pastor who's really interested in seeing the church take ground for the kingdom, is that you've got to perceive when do you need to make your church a bit uncomfortable, which would be another way of like, when do we need to start walking by faith? Like we're too comfortable here. And so let me lay out some vision or lay out a challenge that's going to really force people to live by faith. And I think that we've just tried to continue to keep doing that. And over the years, we figure out new ways to do that. And every time that happens, God blesses and we grow.
hmm So is like you guys are multi-site? Was that one of the moments where you kind of said, "Okay, guys, it's time to get uncomfortable. We are going to go from one location to two, and then to three and four, and then beyond that." Talk. Is that when did that
Yeah.
happen? What year was that? And was that one of the moments?
Yeah, I think that we didn't go multi-site till 2016, I think.
Okay.
So still inside of like a decade on that. And
hmm
I think we started thinking about it maybe 4 or 5 years before that. And
hmm
at the time, I don't know, you all may have been the first church to go multi-site in Indy. I don't know if you know that for sure, but there wasn't very many churches in Indy who had gone multi-site yet.
hmm
And
hmm
I was still trying to get my head around why, how. Is this a trend? Is this something that's around for the long term? Now, since I've come to deep
hmm
seated convictions on multi site, where I could even go into,
hmm
I think the New Testament model looks more like multi site than anything.
mm mm
But because it's not franchising the church, it's leadership development, and
hmm
it's casting vision and calling people to step up, to lead local congregations. So for us, I think we were like, well, let's just really do our due diligence on this and our research. We probably researched it for too long because we were starting to have other churches call us to ask us advice on multi-site, and we hadn't even launched a campus yet. So it's like we had just done all this research. And I think that for me, I really wanted to make sure that we were fully, if you're thinking about the analogy of buckets, like what is now our broadcast campus, it's we've got 120 some acres, 120 some acres, 2,600 seat auditorium, plenty of room. So I was like,
hmm
let's fully maximize that bucket first before we start adding buckets, because I want this bucket to be overflowing. So that way we naturally have, other buckets we can pour into. And so that's what we did first, is like, let's just fully maximize our broadcast campus. And then we just started realizing that we were having people drive more than 20 minutes to where we
hmm
were. And so let's just figure
Exactly.
out where they are. And we did not start multi-site so we could grow into new markets, so to speak, or new areas. We were like, we already had people there, and they're not
hmm
inviting their friends, and it's hard for them to get involved, and we need to actually deepen the bench. And so let's start a campus where they are, so they can get in the game. And that's my favorite thing about multi-site, is every time we
mm
do it, it just rapidly reproduces leaders, because
mm
we need them in order to pull that off. So for
So good.
sure, and I think there's a reason why a lot of churches that go multi-site stop after two or
Mm.
three, because it's really a whole other level of pain when you get to campus number 4 and beyond. And so you got to be willing to say, hey, are we committed to this? And then let's committed to go into the whitewater and endure through some pain to figure it out, so that way we can continue to reach more people.
Yeah, so that kind of leads me into my next question. You just set it up perfectly. Multi-site is a huge challenge. We're a multi-site church. We have lots of problems. You mentioned kind of that fourth campus there, third, fourth campus, and the pain points. Can you put your finger on, okay, this is the biggest challenge when it comes to, and maybe even the first site, if you want to go back a little bit. What is the biggest challenge you guys have faced in the multi-site endeavor?
In short, like systems and communication. So it's like, what are
Mm-hmm.
the systems that we've got to develop to try to replicate what we do in one location? And then how are we communicating? How are decisions being made? The cascading of information. And so, obviously, with one campus, we were kind of like, well, let's just kind of like take what we do and just kind of do it over here and just kind of
Yep.
split it. And but when you get to like 4 and 5, then all of a sudden you have to begin to centralize everything. And so decisions are coming from central. And then it's a matter of like, it's like that tin can telephone game. It's like it goes through so many different people. By the time it gets to where to the campus, you're like, how in the world did you get that information, or why did you think that? Um, and so just being able to be really clear on what the directives are, what decisions are you free to make on your own, to contextualize for your area, and what are
Mm-hmm.
non-negotiables. Like, no, actually
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be fixed. Like, this is who we are as a church. And so I think those things, setting up those systems and then figuring out the line of communication, I think are the pain points.
Yeah. Yeah, we've developed. It's not perfect by any means, but we've developed a. I'm sure you guys have something similar where it's a red, yellow, green kind of situation where, red is you can't do this, yellow is ask for advice, ask before you do it, and green is you have the freedom to make this decision. And there's like different things. So and people just need to know like where are the boundaries, what can I do, what can I not do. So
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah.
So, my next question, this is always something on the mind of pastors. It's on my mind all the time, is the fundraising question.
Mm.
Obviously, multi-site is very expensive. Ministry is very expensive, even with one campus. How do you guys approach funding campuses, fundraising? Do you do capital campaigns? Do you build it into your budget? How do you do that?
Yes. Yeah, we try to build it into our budget as much as we can. We try to budget next year's budget on what is it like? I would try to give ourselves a 10% margin. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like we're planning next year's budget on 90%,
Mm-hmm.
and then allowing that snowball effect to take place. And I would say we're
Mm-hmm.
probably close to a decade into that, so the dividends of that are really beginning to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Boy, that's
uh,
so good.
yeah, that I mean, because there does come a point in like the size of church where the economies of scale begin to pick up and
Mm-hmm.
really begin to work in your benefit on some of that. So you just got to really think smart on that. One of the best moves for me is there's a guy in our church that is a business guy. Didn't need to be in his, had sold his business, didn't need to do that anymore. I was his pastor. I'd baptized his family, and it's just a financial um, genius, really, and has just got a ton of integrity. I hired him. That was like the big thing, that was like the X factor. And so he's bringing the best of marketplace practices into kingdom advancement, and he's totally bought in. I was in a small group with him
Mm-hmm.
for a while, so it's like that move, because I went to seminary. I don't have a
Mm-hmm.
finance degree, so I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
learn from the experts in our church that love our church and love the kingdom of God.
Mm-hmm.
We try to do, some of the normal practices of like, I'll try to, do handwritten cards of thank yous to somebody, especially if it's like a first time giver to the church. We call them pace setters because we're just like, hey, these are the people that are setting the pace in our church. Not all of them are
Mm-hmm.
financial. Some of them could be small group leaders and those who serve on our teams. But obviously, like, giving is a gift. That's a spiritual
Mm-hmm.
gift that some people have. So we want to view it that way. We're not trying to give them specialized treatment, but we are trying to acknowledge the gift that they have.
Yeah.
And so we get together with them pretty regularly. We invite them for a lunch. It's amazing how many of them will take time out of their busy day when they get an invite from me to come to a lunch at the church, and it'll be with their spouse. It'll be an hour. And I'll just say, hey, man, we don't want anything from you. We just want to thank you. We want to pray for you. And we just want to give you a little bit of an insider's update, stuff that I can't necessarily, I don't have time to share from the platform. I want to share with you as to what's going on in our church and what our need is and what God's doing. And we
That's
do that.
so good.
We do this pretty regularly. And
Yeah.
the
So
dividends of
would you
that.
say you do those like once a quarter, like like twice a year? How often do you do lunches like that?
I would say right now, we're probably in a rhythm where we're doing like 2 or 3 a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow. That's
and
that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to eat lunch. It's at the church. It's kind of
Yeah.
in the middle of the
Yeah.
day. It's from noon to 1, and always, 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 I would say half a dozen of the couples stay after. They want to talk to me, and I walk out of there so encouraged. I mean,
Mm.
if you have like every preacher dreads those like emails that come in like a hand grenade.
Oh yeah.
Host one of those, man, and then you just put those in your tank because they are there because they believe in the mission and vision of the church, and they want to tell you so. And so those are super encouraging. One last thing I would just say is, yes, I've done 3 quote unquote, like whatever you want to call them, capital campaigns. We're wrapping up a third one right now. We don't call it that. We call it a generosity initiative with
Mm-hmm.
Generis. And so it's a 2-year one fund that we're doing, which is really, I would just encourage every pastor who's hesitant. I did 2, the first 2 I did at Traders Point. We hit all of our goals, but it about killed me. And
Mm.
I was beat up from it. Like the critics kind of came out of the woodwork. Like it was rough. Some of that was because I was an unproven leader. Some of that was maybe the maturity of our church at the time. This one has been a totally different experience.
Mm.
So so much so that we're not even finished wrapping this one. We're going to wrap it here at the end of 25. We're already planning our next one for the end of 27. And we're even
Wow.
thinking that we'll probably do it. We're just trying to sketch them out, that we'll try to do them every 3 to 4 years, because not because we like are trying to build anything or we need an influx of cash. It's a discipleship tool. I've never
Mm.
seen the needle get moved in the discipleship and faith journey of our people faster than when we lead them through this. And when they start giving sacrificially to something, they start to really care about it. And
Mm.
so it's, man, when they're really leaned in and bought in, and they're giving sacrificially to something, they are so excited about what God's doing here. And so I've become a full on believer in it, not because I'm trying to get people's cash, but because I want God to have their heart. And that's the fastest way to do it.
Ooh, that's good. Man, that's so good. I don't think that pastors, I know I certainly have not looked at capital campaigns through that lens before as a discipleship opportunity. So
Yeah.
you're speaking to me right now. That's great stuff. That's gold. Thank you. That's fantastic. Okay, so another huge challenge for churches of all kinds, different sizes, is the leadership development question. Excuse me. Where do we find more leaders? It's a constant challenge. Can you describe your process, leadership pipeline? Where are you finding campus pastors? Where are you finding staff members? It's a constant challenge. Help us out.
Yeah, well, I would say, even as we've learned some things, it continues to be a challenge. I think we're probably at a little bit of an inflection point where we need to rethink our own pipeline, because it needs a little bit of work for it to
Mm,
be. Our vision is outpacing the leaders that we have, and
mm,
in some ways that's good, and in other ways we're like, well, we can't. That's going to hold us back if we don't do something
mm,
about it. I would say that like if I can hire internally, I want to. Just I want people, especially even some of my best hires, like I've said with my finance guy, have been people that were just a part of our church that worked in the marketplace, and I'm their pastor, and they love our church, and then they're sensing a call of God into ministry, and they have been some of the best teammates, just
mm,
because they don't they didn't ever expect or didn't have any ambition towards working for a church. It's just that God opened the door for this, and they care so much about what God's doing here. Um, and then as far as like campus pastors go, I just feel like it's not that we wouldn't ever hire a campus pastor from outside, but that would not be my first preference. Primarily because I just want somebody who really fully has our DNA and culture baked into
mm,
them. And the only way that that can happen is that they're on the team for a while and they're seeing what's happening, and you get a chance to see their character on display.
mm,
I'm always looking for potential leaders. We have a leadership residency program where
mm,
it's mostly people in their mid to late 20s, but not all that come to us. Many of them have college degrees already. It's a paid residency. They get to work in a specialized area of ministry. And it's honestly, we don't tell them this, but it's like a year-long interview. And at the end of it, we're like, oftentimes I'll go to our team and say, hey, man, there's two out of that class that we've got to find a seat on the bus for. Do whatever we can, because they're phenomenal. We want them on our team.
mm,
And
mm,
we'll find a lot of upcoming leaders that way. I'm always like, I do this like thing where if I meet somebody in the lobby, most of the time, because this will make sense in a minute, if they're men, just because of the appropriate levels here. Where if I'm talking to somebody, he's a man in the lobby, and I'm like, man, I really want to get to know this guy. I'm like, hey man, can I have your number? And they're kind of shocked at that at first, like, really, like, you
mm.
want? And like, yeah,
The pastor wants my number.
the
What?
pastor wants my number. And so we'll put our phones together, do that weird kind of like phone thing,
Yeah,
and this is
yeah.
zaps, and I get their number, and then I put their name in like a note, and I'm like, with like a little description. Hey, I met John today. He's a real estate agent. He's into fitness. We really hit it off. Like, just to trigger my memory. And then I'll get like a list of 15 or 20 of those. And then if I have like a free evening around my fire pit, I'll just text that whole group. And I'll just say, hey, man, I'm going to be sitting around my fire pit. You're welcome to come over tonight from 8 to 10. And no agenda. We'd just love to have you. They're
Mm,
all shocked that not only did I get their number, but I just invited them over to my house, and we only met once in the lobby. And just about all of them try to come if they can. And then we just get around the fire pit, and I just ask two questions. I'm like, hey, thanks for coming, guys. I want our conversation to be guided. I know some of you may know each other, some of you may not. Here's why you're here. I just want to get to know you a little bit. Like I sense something in you. So I'm going to ask two questions. Number one, what are you the most excited about right now? And what's been your greatest challenge, personal or professional, in the last year? I'll go first. And I just get as vulnerable as I can. And you can kind of see in their eyes, like, I can't believe like he's being this vulnerable. And
Dude,
then
you're blowing my mind right now.
and then we'll talk for the next 2 hours, and then they're getting
Yeah.
numbers and we're getting numbers. And then out of that, like I'm going, like we may be hiring a camp. I think our next campus pastor is coming out of this group. He's a guy in the marketplace.
Wow.
So it's like, then I get a chance. Now it's a great test, Danny, because some of those guys are on the conversation. Like, man, if they dominated the conversation, if they were arrogant, if they were prideful, it's like, they go off my list. Like,
Yeah.
hey man, you came over one time. Like, it was great. God bless you. But
You blew it.
yeah, exactly. But the rest of these guys, it's like, hey man, I want to continue to get to know you a little bit more. And then I find I'll start getting text messages from them going, hey, and they're sitting around campfires going, hey, we did the same thing. Like, we're reaching out to guys. And so that's like one way, not the way, but one way. I'm like always on the lookout. It's a discipleship thing for sure, but it's also like a leadership recruitment thing. Like, who are the best
Absolutely.
leaders like that could be in our church? Now let me get them kind of on our executive team's radar and get them in the pipeline.
Where did you learn that? Did you just come up with that in yourself? Because that's brilliant. I mean, it's just, did someone tell you to do that? Was that intuitive or?
Nobody told me to do that, but I've been around lots of campfires with
Yeah.
guys and like had conversations like that. And then
Mm-hmm.
I think I just kind of stumbled onto it. Like, we probably had this where I just would meet somebody in the lobby, and there was just this like stirring. Like, it was like, we just got good chemistry. I just feel a connection to this dude. And I'm like, well, our church is so big, especially if I meet him at another campus, it's like, if I just let them walk away and I don't get their number, how in the world am I going to
Mm-hmm.
follow up with them? And I
Yeah.
don't
And
want to
we've all
like,
felt that. I mean,
for sure. Yeah. It's like, I met this dude in the lobby, or I met this person in the lobby. There was this story. I really liked them. I thought there's something to this. And I'll go to my assistant, like, hey, I met this guy named John. Can you track him down? And she's like, what are you talking? How do I do that? Like, and so I just decided that if I feel that, I just want to get their number right then, and then continue to make a list of names. So I think I kind of stumbled upon it more than
that's
anything.
awesome, man. That's gold, bro. I've got 2 ideas I'm going to execute on already, and we're like not even we're halfway done. So that's fantastic. Thank you for that. So what I heard you say is that it's not what you develop leaders in multiple different ways. And guys, I hope you were taking notes and writing some of that down. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question I have for you. This is a constant challenge for myself, for other pastors that I talk to, is the issue of time management and how do lead pastors, executive pastors, ministry leaders, how do they spend their week? How do they spend their time? We're being pulled in all these different directions. Everyone wants our attention. You just talked about doing a lunch with donors. You talked about doing campfires with potential leaders. How do you decide over a week's time to use your time? Do you use a grid? What's your system?
Yeah, I have my calendar in front of me, and my assistant really helps me with this as far as like external travel and planning goes. So I'm like looking at it like in the year. I mean, I've got travel plans, a year in advance. And as far as like the day goes, obviously, I mean, first of all, like if you can, you just need a really good assistant who will help kind of guard that calendar. And she has really figured out like the things that she knows that I don't need to be a part of. Like, she'll
Mm,
not even necessarily allow that to get to me because I have a tendency to want to say like yes to everything. And she's the one who's always going, you need to say no to that. So she's really helpful because my emotions get in the way. Like, I don't want to be known as the pastor that's you can never access. I don't want that. I would
mm,
say very few of us do want that. Like,
mm-mm.
I got into this so that I could pastor and encourage people. But not everybody, I love my friend Joby Martin says it this way. He's like, do you need help or do you need me? Because those are
Mm,
different. And it's like,
that's good.
I don't, not everybody needs me. In fact,
Mhm.
you'll actually cap the growth of your in the effectiveness of your church if you think everybody needs you.
Come on.
They think they need you because of what you
Mm.
said on the platform, but what they really need is help, and lots of people can give them help. And actually, if you're taking all those appointments, you're robbing your team of giving other people help that they can give them and training.
Yeah.
So it's oftentimes it's like when she gets an email or a request, hey, I really want to meet with Pastor Aaron. She's like, can you tell me, why?
Mhm.
And oftentimes the answer to that is, hey, he really appreciates that, but it can't happen. Or not everything needs to be a 30-minute or an hour long face-to-face meeting. It could be a phone call, or it could be a FaceTime or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's part of that. Um, I would say that I really guard my mornings pretty relentlessly. So
Mhm.
mornings for me are study. Mornings for me are think time, and I do all of my meetings with people in the afternoons. And I know some guys are wired differently. They'll do like breakfast meetings and that sort of thing. For me, meetings are just, or mornings are so sacred to me because
Mhm.
of the fact that it's when I do my best thinking, and I
Mhm.
don't want to I mean, after 2 o'clock in the day, like for me to try to study or think or write is pretty much useless for me. So it's like I want to make sure that I've got all that in the morning times, and then I'm saving meetings in the afternoon for primarily meetings with my team, and then when it comes to meeting with people in the church, I can only do, so many of those. And so it's like thinking through how many of those can I get in a week and on what days.
Mhm.
And for me, it's like I got to have the sermon done before I can do that. Otherwise, I'll be pretty useless, talking to somebody. So
Mhm.
most of those meetings come like on Wednesday afternoons or Thursdays.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a constant challenge, man. I know you stay physically fit. Where do you squeeze that into your day? Are you a workout afternoon guy, or that's a huge value to you? I think it should be for all pastors, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
That would be mornings as well. So
Hmm.
typically, what I try to do is like I try to like get up first thing and spend my quiet time and reading early in the morning, and then kind of jump right in right after that with
Hmm.
just whatever writing, thinking, study I need to do. I'll take my one of my daughters to school, and then I'll go to the gym right after that, and
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
I'm back after that. So that really helps me because I'm getting a jump on my day with jumping right in. I'll take a break, go get my workout in, so I know it's in. The endorphins are going at that point. In my own
Hmm.
mind, I'm like, hey, I got it in today. Like the
Hmm.
workout is
To
in,
win.
so I don't need to think about it anymore, and then I can go hard like the rest of the day. So I'll kind of sandwich it in the middle of my morning,
Hmm.
and that's usually typically when I get that in. But yeah, you're right. Like I try to stay active 5-6 days a week.
Hey, thank you for joining us today on our episode with Pastor Aaron Brockett from Traders Point Christian Church. We're going to take a break from our conversation and continue it next week, so you're not going to want to miss that. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can receive a notification when the episode goes live. We'll see you next week. God bless.